Tonight's council meeting. To begin with, I would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional custodians of this land and pay my respects to elders past, present and future, and to welcome all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who may have joined us here this evening. Membership for today's meeting is not as listed in the agenda. Councillor Lawrence and Councillor Newton are both on a leave of absence and are both apologies for this evening. Item 3 is disclosures of conflict of interest. Are there any disclosures? Councillor Messina.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'd like to disclose I have a conflict of interest on matter number 8.3. I have an indirect interest as I'm currently employed in the aged care sector.
Thank you, Councillor Messina. Are there any other disclosures? No? Thank you. Next item is the confirmation of the minutes of the council meeting held on the 15th of October. Moved by Councillor Williams and seconded by Councillor Rennie. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Now on to question and submission time. So I'll move to those questions that we received prior to the meeting. The first question is from Demi Karamzalis, who isn't attending, so I'll read out the question. How do you propose to ensure that the following do not become an issue in the community should the affordable housing be passed to be built? Reducing the crime rate. Evidence in many other suburbs shows that this can increase, reducing the current congestion of vehicles and parking in the inner Preston near High Street. How will you avoid such a large building overshadowing other residents and standing out like a massive tower in the central area? And what guarantee can you provide that the heritage of the buildings will still continue to be managed? So thank you for your question, Demi. This is an item on tonight's agenda, so we will we'll be making a decision whether to proceed with the affordable housing project or not. I know that within the council report, many of these issues were raised, and so we'll provide a written response based on that information that's in the council report to you within the next week. The next question is from Brian Sanigan. Would you like to come down to the lectern here, please?
Thank you. Yeah, Brian Sanigan, West Preston. My question is to Councillor Trent McCarthy. Of two of them, this is the first one. Comrade, you are a high-profile public figure. You're a Darebin City Councillor and therefore accountable to the ratepayers of this city. In addition, you're actively involved with the Falcons Women's and Girls Australian Rules Football Club. Will you tell me and my fellow ratepayers the expiry date on your clearance to work with children certificate?
So the questions in public question time is directed to the chair, which is myself, and I'm happy to respond to that question.
It's on the notice. Can I just say this? It's on the notice paper as being a question to Councillor McCarthy.
Okay, and so the local law actually states that the questions during public question time will be directed to the chair,
and I am
happy to respond.
Does he refuse to answer it?
I'm happy to respond to
Does
the question.
Does he refuse to answer it?
I'm not asking him.
Well, then I want it contained in the minutes that he refuses to answer it.
I'm not actually.
Does he refuse to answer it?
I'm not asking him.
Does he refuse to answer it?
Mr. Sanigan, if you would like to.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Mr. Sanigan, I'm happy to respond.
I'll move on to my second question. I'll move on to my second question.
Okay.
But I want the minutes to record that he refused to answer it.
I would just like to clarify that he has not refused to answer it because I haven't asked him to answer the question.
Will he answer
I'm happy to respond to the question, but you keep cutting me off.
I want him to answer it.
Mr. Sanigan, I will have to ask you to not yell at us. You are here. You are here to ask questions in a respectful manner. We are happy to respond in a respectful way, and you're not allowing that to happen.
Listen, darling.
And if you continue to do that, I will have to ask you to leave.
You earn my respect, and you don't.
I will give you one last chance.
Call the police.
Please move on to your second question.
I've already approached the police about this bloke.
Please move on to your second question.
And he won't answer the question.
Mr. Sanigan, I'll have to ask you to leave now. I've given you a warning. I'll have to ask you to leave now.
No, I'm not leaving. I have a second question to ask.
I'm now adjourning the meeting for 5 minutes while Mr. Sanigan leaves.
I have a second question to ask. Are you going to answer it, Trent, or not? Are you going to answer it, Trent? Oh, protocol. What would you know about protocol? You tell me about it. What, you've got to kiss their asses to get the bloody question answered? You didn't give them the chance to explain what you need to do to get the question answered. What are you, sorry? I've got a question on the notice paper written down. Oh, by the way, I want to tell the gallery this. I'm making some